Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over the 10 best value vehicles in Grand Theft Auto Online, or 10 best bang for your buck vehicles in the entire game. Some of these are going to directly make you money, some of them are going to help you to make money, some of them are really good at what they do and very cheap for how good they are. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started with number 10. At number 10, you probably saw this one coming. This is the Anis Elegy RH8, and this is a free vehicle. Now, the RH8 actually used to be a top 10 fastest sports car in Grand Theft Auto Online only like last year. So by now, it's just a little bit outside of the top 10 fastest sports cars, but for absolutely free, this thing is a complete steal, and it is definitely a car that you guys should pick up. It's all-wheel drive, it has great acceleration, a great launch off the line, obviously. The handling is also pretty good, and the top speed is pretty decent. On top of this, you can upgrade it into the Elegy Retro Custom from the RH8 if you ever get bored of your RH8, and then of course you can just go ahead and get another one. Overall, it is a really good vehicle, and considering that it's absolutely free, it is definitely one of the best value vehicles in the entire game for sure. Let's move on to number 9. At number 9, we have the Karen Kuruma Armored, coming in at $525,000 if you have completed the Fleesa job. However, if you have not, it's going to cost you $698,250. Either way, it is a very, very good deal for what you get. The Armored Kuruma is a sports car in GTA Online, and it is armored. However, the armor isn't exactly armor. It is just almost 100% bullet resistant. However, it cannot take any explosives. But of course, this does mean that it's going to be very good against NPCs in missions. It's definitely more of a PvE focused car. I wouldn't necessarily recommend using it against players, but it is extremely good against AI. It's quite quick in a straight line. The handling isn't my favorite, but it's far from the worst, and the top speed is okay as well. It's got some customization. Overall, it is a very decent car. Definitely one that I would recommend owning, especially if you're a newer player in online. But regardless, I think anyone can benefit from owning a Karen Kuruma Armored in online. That's it for number 9, on to number 8. Next up at number 8, we have the Nagasaki BF400 coming in at $95,000. $95,000, less than 100 grand, and this is a phenomenal bike to own in GTA Online. In fact, it's actually the fastest off-road class vehicle in the entire game for racing. Now, unfortunately, there are going to be some off-road races where you're not going to be allowed to use the BF400, but in those that you are able to use it, you should absolutely use it because you're going to win those races because it's just extremely fast. It's also very good for stunting around in free mode, and it's a lot of fun to ride around. You can also climb pretty much vertical in this thing, which I think is kind of interesting, and it also has an infinite wheelie, meaning that you can wheelie this thing for as long as you possibly want. So long as you don't start going uphill, then you can actually fall over the back of it, but as long as you're on relatively flat ground, you're going to be able to wheelie this thing forever, meaning that it's going to have max acceleration all the time. So that is pretty awesome. Unfortunately, not much customization at all. You can just pick a livery option, but it is definitely a good bike to own. Definitely one that I recommend. At number 7, we have the Pegassi Toros, coming in at $498,000, so under 500k for this thing. The Toros is the fastest SUV on last gen and PC, and it's the second fastest, arguably, on Xbox Series S and X and PS5. Now, the Toros for the money is ridiculously good. It's insanely good, actually. It has a top speed of 126 miles per hour, which is like insane for an SUV, and that's pretty high for most cars in GTA, so it's very good in a straight line. The acceleration is also quite good. The launch is phenomenal as well because it is all-wheel drive. The handling is the only thing that's a little bit shoddy with this thing. You don't quite know what's going to go on with it. For the most part, I think it's very easy to control. However, if you do have to switch directions a few times in a row, the back end of this thing is going to sort of swing out on you, but I find it relatively easy to get back into place. However, I have heard from a lot of people that they don't like it, but regardless, you cannot deny how good this vehicle is for less than $500,000. So definitely this is one that you should pick up. The Taurus has a lot of customization as well, and I think it's a great looking vehicle. Definitely look into this one. At number 6, we have the Ocelot Pariah, coming in at $1,420,000. This is the highest top speed sports car in all of Grand Theft Auto Online, discounting HSW of course. So on all of last gen, this is actually the fastest sports car in the game top speed wise, and even on current gen consoles with HSW, it's still pretty up there when it comes to the sports category. In fact, I think it's actually the second fastest sports car in a straight line, so that's pretty insane. It's rear wheel drive only, which of course means it's not going to have the greatest launch ever, but the handling is actually surprisingly good. I really like the Ocelot Pariah. It's very, very good. A lot of people say they don't really like the look of this car. I can kind of see what they're talking about, but it does have some good customization, and overall I think it is a decent car. Definitely one to pick up in online, and for under 1.5 mil, you definitely cannot complain about the performance of the Ocelot Pariah. That's it for number 6. On to number 5. We have the Brigade 6x6 or the Acid Lab. Now this is going to cost you $750,000 to be able to actually modify it, plus an additional $250,000 if you want to put the equipment upgrade on this thing to make the most amount of money possible. The Acid Lab is honestly one of the best value vehicles in the entire game, considering it's actually one of the only vehicles you can directly make money from owning. So for that reason, it's definitely deserving of being on this list. It's also the second most armored vehicle in the entire game, being able to take 48 homing missiles and several RPGs. I believe it's 20 plus, which is insane. It's also quite quick, and with it you also get the Acid Lab delivery bike, which is a Manches Scout, and it is very, very fun to drive. Now, of course, like I said, you can directly make money with the Brigade 6x6, and that is, of course, through the Acid Lab. Acid Lab is going to sell for $335,000 on a full sale once you have the equipment upgrade, and once it is at full stock. Full stock is only going to cost you about $100,000 to make, so you're going to make a decent profit from owning this vehicle. The sale missions are also really easy. They're always one vehicle, so long as you are a solo player. If you have another player with you, you might get a second delivery bike, but you can do it as just a solo player. Overall, the Brigade 6x6 or the Acid Lab is a very good vehicle to own, and it definitely provides you with a lot of value for owning it. So there you go. On to number 4. At number 4, we have the Kasatka submarine coming in at $2.2 million. That's the cheapest you can that you can purchase this thing for. If you want to fully upgrade it, you can make it, close to $9 million or just over $9 million. So it is going to be really expensive if you max it out. But just owning the Kasatka for $2.2 million will grant you access to doing the Puerto Rico heist, which is regarded as the best hourly money method in Grand Theft Auto Online, meaning that you can make the most money possible per hour in GTA Online using the Kasatka and doing the Puerto Rico heist. You can expect to earn about $1.3 million all the way to $1.7 million depending on what your heist loot is in just under an hour for most players, which is absolutely insane. The Kasatka is also super fun to sail around, and it does have a lot of perks to owning it, especially as you upgrade it more and more. That's it for the Kasatka. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing about it. Let's move on to number 3. At number 3, we have the Night Shark. The Night Shark goes for $1,245,000, and it is a staple of the armored vehicles in Grand Theft Auto Online. The Night Shark can tank 27 homing missiles and between 8 and 9 RPGs depending on where it gets hit before blowing up. So it's very, very well armored. It's also extremely quick, and the driver gets access to front-mounted machine guns as well, which is pretty good, although they don't do very much damage. And for less than $1,250,000, this is a pretty fantastic vehicle for the money. On top of that, you can also shoot out of the vehicle and throw sticky bombs so long as you do not put the window plating on it. The window plating is completely cosmetic. It doesn't actually protect you, so don't put window plating on. I just have it for the look. But you're definitely going to want to skip out on it if you plan to actually use this thing in online. Overall, the Night Shark is a great vehicle, especially for under $1,250,000. Definitely look into this one. Next up at number 2, we have the Buzzard Attack Chopper for $1,750,000 off of Warstock Cash and Carry. Now, I know what you're thinking. The Buzzard is kind of outdated, and it is an OG vehicle in GTA. Why is it so good? Well, the Buzzard has a lot of perks to owning it, honestly. If you're registered as a CEO, you can spawn it in for absolutely free through the CEO Vehicles menu, which is a huge perk, and it will spawn right beside you. You can get in it and take off and fly wherever you need to go. On top of that, the Buzzard Attack Chopper is one of the fastest helicopters in GTA Online still to this day, so it is pretty good for getting around the map, and for convenience sake, being able to spawn it right beside you is pretty great. It's also equipped with the highest damaging machine guns in the entire game. These will shred cars with no problem, shred jets, helicopters, anything that you need to shoot at with these machine guns. Although they are a little bit hard to aim, they do so much damage that it really doesn't even matter. The Buzzard can also hold 4 players, and it does have homing missiles and non-homing missiles that are also equipped on it. Now, unfortunately, the armor of the helicopter isn't that great, but mostly you're going to use this thing just to get around and earn your first money in GTA Online. That's what I used my Buzzard Attack Chopper to do. I basically grinded out Headhunter with this thing over and over again until I was actually able to afford some other ways of making money in the game. But I still think that the Buzzard provides excellent value for the money that it costs, and you don't need to own anything in order to actually buy a Buzzard. You don't need a hangar or a Kasatka or anything like that. You can simply buy the Buzzard, call Pegasus, or use your CEO interaction menu to spawn it in. So it's got some great value, definitely one that I recommend, especially for earlier game players. Now, of course, at number 1, we have the Ocelot Virtue coming in at $2,235,000 all the way up to $2,980,000. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but you can also get this thing for absolutely free by completing the first and last dose Los Santos Drug Wars missions, which is a very, very good deal because the Ocelot Virtue has access to Imani tech. It's also the fastest accelerating electric vehicle, or just vehicle in general, on last gen consoles and PC, and even on new gen with HSW, it still has very, very good acceleration, and the fact that you can get this thing for free is absolutely awesome. It also has some decent handling. You can also put armor on it, which is very good, and you can throw sticky bombs and shoot out of it as well. So the Ocelot Virtue as a free vehicle in GTA Online is definitely a great vehicle to have and definitely provides some excellent value to the player who's going to be owning it. If you don't have an Ocelot Virtue for free yet, you should absolutely complete the first and last dose missions. You're going to get paid for each of the missions, and then at the end you're also going to get a free Virtue. So it's really a win-win. Anyway guys, those are my picks for the 10 best value vehicles in Grand Theft Auto Online. Let me know what you thought of my list. Are there any vehicles that I missed? Are there any that you feel like I could replace? Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, dislike if you didn't, of course. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.